This program is designed to provide general information with regards to the subject matters covered. This information is given with the understanding that neither the hosts, guests, sponsors, or station are engaged in rendering any specific and personal, medical, financial, legal, counseling, professional service, or any advice. You should seek the services of competent professionals before applying or trying any suggested ideas. The information contained in this podcast is intended for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for individual professional legal advice. The podcast information was carefully compiled from vetted sources and references. However, Rose Resources Outreach to Safeguard the Elderly cannot guarantee that you will not fall victim to a scam. Let's talk about scams. It's the must-listen show for anyone who wants to protect themselves and their loved ones from scams. Every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time on K4HD Radio, Joyce Petrowski, founder of Rose, and her guests will provide valuable insights and practical tips on how to recognize and protect yourself from scams. And now, here is your host, Joyce Petrowski.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Let's Talk About Scams. I'm Joyce Petrowski, founder and board president of Rose Resources Outreach to Safeguard the Elderly. You can find more information on our website at roseadvocacy.org. On the homepage, you'll find all of our social media channels, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. And so you're going to want to subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss an episode of this show. We have all of our past episodes on there, and the shorts are on there as well. If you scroll down to the bottom of that page, you will find where you can sign up for our newsletters. We send one in the mail at the beginning of every month, and we do one via email. And the larger email newsletter goes out at the beginning of every month. December's went out last Friday, December 5th. But every Tuesday morning at 9:15, you're going to get a Tuesday tip. And that Tuesday tip is one, to give you information that you might not have known, or even if you did know the information, the second and more important part of it is it's a reminder. It's a reminder to keep scam prevention top of mind. So you keep your healthy skepticism, your healthy scam prevention habits. So the next time you are contacted by a scammer, you're going to be more apt to think scam and then know the steps to go through to determine if it really is a scam, to verify before you can trust it. Talk to your trusted person about the situation, different things like that. So you can sign up for one or you can sign up for both of them. It's a way to get some great information. And another great thing about the Tuesday tip, or even our mailed newsletter or the larger emailed newsletter, is it's going to give you information that you can use as a conversation starter. You can take this information, you can talk to your older loved ones in regular conversation. You know, it doesn't have to be a conversation where you're like, don't do this, don't do that, don't do this. You can use it to say, hey, I just learned about this new protection tool. I just learned about this new scam that's been going around. Did you know about it? Have you received any of these text messages or phone calls? Or it's a way to keep that conversation going. And it lets your older loved one also know that, hey, you can come talk to me, if you do happen to click on a link or respond to a text message, or maybe you've given your credit card number out and then realized you think it might be a scam. Come talk to me about it and I can help you mitigate the damages. And I can help you. If it's identity theft, we can work through the process of getting your identity back. Anyways, lots of great information and lots of great ways you can use this information. So today we're going to talk about securing your cell phones. I think just about everybody has a cell phone these days, and the majority of the cell phones are connected to the internet. We do a lot of stuff on our cell phones. I think we just automatically go to our cell phones to do things versus going to our laptop or our desktop or iPad or anything like that. big reason is your cell phone's the most portable thing, right? Instead of carrying around a bulky laptop or a bigger iPad, um, your cell phone's portable. You might have it in your purse, your back pocket, your briefcase, whatever it is that you're carrying. And so, we're on it all the time, whether we're talking on the phone or we're texting or we're checking our emails or we're searching for something online. With the holidays coming up, we might be on it to search for Christmas gifts, for holiday gifts. You might be on social media on there. There's a wide variety of social media apps out there. Um, and a lot of people do their banking, right? Um, a lot of, if not all of the banks have their app where you can do your banking on your phone, right? Somebody gives you a check, because yes, there are still people out there that write checks. I'm one of them. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there. Don't necessarily write checks for everything, but we do still write checks for certain things. And if someone hands you a check, a lot of times people aren't going to take time out to have to go to the bank and stand in line and do all that to make that deposit. So they're going to do a deposit right on their phone. Um, and maybe they want to check their banking activity, or they want to check their banking balance, or, you know, um, their credit card activity, or transfer money between accounts, whatever. A lot of times we pick up our phones to do that. And I also think we're good at, for the most part, we're good at securing our desktop computers, our laptop, our iPads, because I think we think of those more as computers. But we really need to think of our cell phones as mobile computers with everything that can be done on the cell phones, and that is done on the cell phones. We have to lock down and secure our cell phones or our mobile computers. We have a short video that's going to be coming out, I believe, next week. I believe it might be the Tip Tuesday for next week. It's a short little video that I did about, you need to secure your cell phones. You need to treat them as mobile computers. So, and another thing that I've heard is from people is, well, I have an iPhone and I've been told I don't need any added security, that it's enough. Well, nothing is foolproof. So iPhones are not foolproof. Android phones are not foolproof. They are susceptible to being hacked into. They are susceptible to not catch, you know, every malicious site that's out there. So having added security measures on your phone, whether it's an iPhone or an Android, is the best thing that you can do. Now, you might ask, well, what security should I have? Right? Well, that's a question that looks different to really everybody, because we're all different. What we do on our phones is different. What risk we like to take, our risk tolerance level is different as well. Our convenience, what we see is trading convenience for risk, is different. So that's why it's good to do some research. Now, one of the tips that we give out is, we always talk about, be aware of your emotions, have a trusted person you can talk to about anything. You want to verify before you can even begin to trust. Be careful of, payment options, and guard your personal information. But another just as important tip is having that go-to tech support person. And we've talked about this a lot. There are companies out there that provide this tech support. Some of them might only do commercial, properties. So they might be, if work for, might be contracted with your employer to do all of their cybersecurity and lock down all of the company's computers and software and all of that stuff. But they might also have a consumer part of it where they work with individuals and homes and your mobile computers and or your mobile phones and your personal devices. Um, there's a lot of, individual people out there, whether they've set up a company or not. They're really good tech support people. And a lot of times they can help you with your devices, by remoting in to your device. Now you have to allow that to happen, which is why you need to trust this person that they are only going to do what you've asked them to do. And when they say they've disconnected they've disconnected the line of them remoting the session, that they've actually disconnected it and they've not left anything in the background, right? That they're watching everything you do, like a malicious site might do, or a virus on your computer or something like that. So that's why you need to have a trusted one. But a lot of times these tech support people, they also know cell phones. Some of them might know both Android and iPhone. Some of them might specialize in Android where others will specialize in iPhones, but it's a good question to ask because they know a lot of these softwares that you can get and what works best for iPhones, and they've maybe through experience. Um, but they've done a lot of this research. But if you want to do the research on your own, I'm going to share my screen now and kind of walk you through some stuff that I was looking at. And uh, so you can, hang on a second. There we go. So you can kind of see how we, when we say to do your research. Um, so, there's a lot of great companies out there, tech companies that will evaluate a bunch of different softwares and apps and stuff like that. And they continually monitor and evaluate these apps. And then they update their articles quite frequently with new information. And so one of the tech companies that we've used um, quite frequently for different information is PC Magazine. And so basically, I've just got into this PCMag.com and I come over here to the menu and I scroll down and there's how-tos, reviews, comparisons, best products. So I just went into best products and you can go down through here and you can scroll and you can see all the best products. But if you're looking for a monitor, a printer, some gaming or graphics, video editing, web hosting, there's password managers, antivirus software, vacuums, headphones, TVs, all kinds of stuff, Wi-Fi's, the best phones, external hard drives. But the one I pulled up was the best VPN services for 2025. And so that's the virtual private network, which is what we recommend in our resource packet and in our presentations. We recommend that if your only option is to be on public Wi-Fi, even if it's password protected, public Wi-Fi that's not as secure as maybe the Wi-Fi you have at your home. And why would, even though both of them are password protected, why would the other one not be as secure as yours? Well, like a hotel, right? Their Wi-Fi is password protected, but how many people know that password? And how often do they change it? Right? So even if they change it every day, the people that are staying in there that day know the password. And if there's 1,000 people in there, there's 1,000 people that know that password. And are 10 of them or 5 of them or one of them, a criminal that's just trying to get in and using that password protected Wi-Fi to get into anybody that's on that Wi-Fi. So, and even, coffee shops and different things like that, even if it's their Wi-Fi is password protected, you have to ask yourself the question, how many people know that password? And then you need to make the decision. Do you think this is really secure? Or are you going to protect yourself and use a virtual private network when you are using the internet while you're connected to their Wi-Fi? Now, you could say, well, what harm is it if I'm checking the weather, right? Um, something like that. If I'm using public Wi-Fi, well, if you're checking the weather, okay, it's, not, you would think that's pretty harmless, but what if there's a fake weather site out there that the criminals have cloned, and by you getting on that website, they're now installing malware? I don't know. I'm just, for lack of a better term, trying to be the devil's advocate here to try to get people to think more about what they're doing online and are they really protected. So, um, the virtual private networks are going to really help with this. They're going to encrypt your information that you're doing. You can also use your personal hotspot on your phones. But this company here has gone through and they have um, and evaluated a bunch of different virtual private networks. And you can look and like their best overall pick is Proton VPN. And you can expand it here and look at the pros and cons. Okay. Best free plan we've seen, industry leading privacy standards. They have a global server network, um, numerous additional privacy tools. They have ample customer support. You can also look at the cons. Now, your tech support person is going to be able to tell you what high latency scores and testing is. Um, but you can also scroll all the way down and take a deeper dive into their top tested uh, picks. So you can go down here and they're going to say, give you some more information, earns a 5-star rating. While the core paid VPN service price is average, they have the best free VPN subscription we've seen. Now, a lot of times we tell you stay away from free services because they don't have a lot of the security measures that you really should have. But we also understand not everybody's budget allows them to pay for all of these different services. And so a free VPN service might be what your budget allows and what you need. And a free one is better than not having anything at all. So this one, PC Magazine has determined has the best free subscription. Um, Now you can look at, open this up. Well, why did they pick it? Well, they said in addition to the usual VPN capabilities, there's an ad blocker, a kill switch, a malware blocker, port forwarding, split tunneling. Some of these things, you might have to look up what does split tunneling mean, or maybe you just get the customer service number and you call them and say, "Hey, what is split tunneling? How's that going to benefit me?" Um, what's port forwarding and how does that benefit me? But your tech support person is going to know this stuff too. And if you've used them for a while, then they kind of know, they're going to ask you these questions like, well, what all are you using your phone for? And they're going to say, are you doing your banking on there? Are you sending sensitive documents? When you're on the internet, what are you using the internet for? To try to get an idea as to what you're doing to then help you pick the best VPN for you. But you can read here about the different privacy and security, speed and performance. If you do streaming, it's going to give you information on streaming, ease of use and user experience, a pleasant user experience. The iOS, so the Apple app is an excellent example of intuitive design. Um, and then I like this here where it talks about who's it for. So newbies, it's easy to use and full featured, which makes it a great choice for new virtual private network users. So if you're like, I don't know if I really want to use a virtual private network, or I'm not very tech savvy, is this going to be really complicated? If this is a good one for newbies, try out their free version and see how you like it and get used to it. And then maybe you want to upgrade to one of their paid subscriptions, or maybe you're then going to do some research to determine based on paid subscriptions what might work best for you. Home users. So it gives you a lot of information. And if you're some tech, so you're tech savvy, you can look down at some of the specs and configurations, right? You can have 10 simultaneous connections, 500 plus servers. They're in 117 different countries. There's a free version. The free version data limit is unlimited. They block ads. And the nice thing now is you can go right to Proton VPN reviews and click on today's best deal to see what deals they have out there. Now, here's another one that, they said that NordVPN has the best premium features. Again, they come down here, they tell you the pros and cons. This one, they say the antivirus component could be better. It's expensive and the annual pricing could be clearer. Okay. Some people are okay with that. Maybe they have a different antivirus um, already enabled that they're comfortable with that is more secure. So they're not necessarily interested in the antivirus component of a VPN. But again, why did they pick this one? For features and capabilities, speed and performance, streaming. They're going to give you um, so it says a note here under user experience. This VPN is positioned as a set it and forget it tool that will run in the background on your device, which might not be ideal for everyone. When you don't want the VPN to automatically connect, then you have to go in and tap the pause button on the dashboard and mark your current network as trusted. Because maybe if you're on your current network and you know it's a trusted, secure site, you don't necessarily need to have a VPN. And I know the VPN that I have, um, and when I'm on my home Wi Fi network, I don't use it. I have one that's not constantly running in the background. So I go in and make sure that if I'm on an unsecured site or not site, an unsecured Wi-Fi or one that is password protected, but I'm just not sure how secure it is because you don't know how many people have the password to it and can access it. Um, that I'm going to turn my VPN on. But then there's some websites that I've tried to access that because I've had my VPN on, the site won't let me sign in. But if I turn my VPN off, I can sign in. And I look at it as the company must then have something in their software that detects that you're using a VPN, and they have it set to where they won't allow anybody that's using a VPN to access their site is what I'm thinking. But anyways, and so I just know that okay, well then I'm only going to access that site when I'm at home on my secure Wi-Fi. So that could be a reason, why you don't want a VPN running all the time, 24/7 in the background. But if you're one that's constantly on, public Wi-Fi, unsecured Wi-Fi, and you don't want to take a risk, well, then maybe having it running 24/7 in the background is the best thing for you. Again, going in the who it's for, frequent travelers. If you are a frequent traveler and you're using your VPN all the time, NordVPN has servers in over 100 countries. Um, and it's also easy to quickly connect. So you don't have to worry about snoops on public Wi-Fi like we just talked about. Um, Newbies, it's also good for newbies. It's easy for first-time users to connect immediately, um, all of that. So you can go down through all of these and you can look at all of them. Like this one they say is best for location spoofers, right? So, you can if I'm in Phoenix, I can set my VPN for maybe Miami, Florida, or I can set it for, Dallas, Texas. If I'm out of the country, I can set it for like if I'm over, let's say in the Caribbean, I can set it for Miami, Florida, so it thinks I'm in the United States, which might help with some other sites that maybe won't allow you to access their site because they see that you're in a country that they're not comfortable with, or their site does not operate maybe in their country, in that country, and so it's possible that if you've set your VPN for maybe Miami, Florida, or back in the United States, that maybe then now this site will allow you to access it. Um, so you can also let's go back up to the menu and we can go down. You can go down and the best in let's see, antivirus software for 2025. And again, you're going to want to make sure it says 2025 because that's the most current. Now, yes, we're at the end of the year. January's rolling around. So in January and February, look at it and say, is there one for 2026? January, I don't know. Maybe they haven't updated for anything in 2026 in January. But look for that. And if they give you the option of the current year, always select the current year because it should have the most up-to-date information. So look at their top antivirus picks. Their best overall is Bitdefender. Their best for extra security features is Norton. Um, Their best breadth of features is GData cyber defense. For speedy scans, it's Malwarebytes. If you're looking for just a single um, PC household, McAfee is what they're saying. And then scroll down and do the deeper dive, right? So um, the pros for this Bitdefender, excellent scores in independent lab tests, very good defense against phishing, multi-layered ransomware protection. They have an isolated browser for banking safety. That might be something that really means a lot to you. Prevents advertisers from tracking you. That could be something that you're like, that is a really high on my list. I don't want any advertisers tracking me. And it has protection for Windows, Mac OS, Android, and iOS. So maybe you have an Apple phone, but your devices at your home are Windows, or vice versa. You have an Android phone, but you have multiple devices in your home that maybe some are Mac and some are Windows. And I know that was with us when our kids were still at home. My husband and my daughter switched to the Mac laptops much quicker than I did. I was the last one to switch over, but I finally did. So we had multiple devices in our home. And so, you'd want to look for one that you only need one subscription and it's going to cover all the different devices in there. Again, why they picked it. Um, it talks about pricing and pricing tiers. So at $50 a year for one license and 70 for three, Bitdefender costs more than many of its competitors. Not a lot more, but more. So take a look at how much more you get, though they think it's still a bargain. They have advanced threat protection that relies on behavioral monitoring to detect malware, including ransomware. So that behavioral monitoring, we've talked about that before. That's some more advanced security because it's looking at the behavior of something that might be considered ransomware or malware or websites or whatever. It's not necessarily looking specifically for threats that are known out there. They've got features beyond antivirus. And then again, they come down and say who they think it's for, the laid back user. If you want comprehensive protection with minimal interaction, simply start Bitdefender Antivirus Plus and enable its autopilot feature. You can sit back and know that you have comprehensive protection. But when this says, you can sit back and notice it doesn't say, not worry or anything like that. Just know that nothing is 100% or 110% foolproof. So you need to know that going into it and know that you still need to keep your smart security scam prevention habits up to date. You still want to be careful on clicking on links, right? You want to do all those things and you want to look at the URL and see if that URL makes sense for that company. You want to make sure, if you want to look at the cookies and make sure they're not tracking you, all of that stuff, you want to keep those scam prevention habits top of mind. So there's a lot of different things with the antivirus software. Now you can go up here and under best products and, what else do they have here? Password managers, it's going to be interesting to see because they've come out with passkeys now. And passkeys are that biometric information. And I've noticed that the password manager that I use will now, when I go to log into some of the sites that I have, I have all my logins in that password manager. It'll prompt me to set up a passkey, and it saves the passkey in the password manager. So you can use passkeys with password managers as well. You can look in there and see what they say for. And you can also look here, the date. I didn't say this on the other articles, but this was updated November 16th. So it's very recent. Again, here, NordPass, best for beginners, RoboForm, best premium password manager, best free password manager, Proton Pass. So sorry about that. I've got notifications coming up, but then go down again to the deeper dive and look at it, find out what they have. Like NordPass, their con is, well, they have a limited free plan. That might not matter to you because you know you're already going to pay for a subscription, right? They can have email masking, password health tools. They can help you determine if your passwords are strong and healthy. They have credit card and email address breach scans, emergency access, right? Again, who's it for? Beginners and non-tech savvy customers. It's easy to use. Individuals and families, right? If you have a family and you have kids that are on devices, then you're going to want to make sure that any of these security things that you choose includes specific items that relate to kids that you're going to want to monitor, that it's going to look out for. Another company that I've looked at is cybernews.com. And again, same thing, go into the menu and you can go down and they have VPNs, antivirus software, password managers. And so antivirus software, the best antivirus for 25. You can go in and say, well, I have an iPhone and I want it just on my iPhone, or I want it for Mac. Or I'm looking for free. So what's my best option with free? But let's look, I have an iPhone, so let's look at best antivirus for iPhone and iPads. Again, this was updated November 19th. Again, they're going to give you, right here, iPhones, like any other internet connected device that uses apps and stores sensitive data, are vulnerable to viruses. They can damage your device and put your information at risk. So again, here, the best antivirus, this is their version for the best for iPhones overall. This Bitdefender has a feature-rich antivirus. This has a reliable antivirus for iPhone with a free version. This is the best user-friendly suite for an iPhone. So again, go down. It's going to tell you why iPhones need antivirus protection, right? And while it says, while iOS devices like iPhones and iPads are typically more secure thanks to strong built-in security features and strict app review procedures before they will allow an app on their store, iPhones are still vulnerable to malware such as adware, malicious toolbars, spyware, trojans, viruses. So having the trustworthy antivirus software is important. Again, this is an expert comment, right? Apple's done a great job, but no system is entirely immune to vulnerabilities. So look, they've compared here total AV. They've given you the rating on the App Store, what their rating is, the price, how many devices you can have. So look here, this one's 19 a month. You get 8 devices. It has a very light impact in the background. Safari web protection, but it doesn't have a firewall. Okay. This one is $10, $11 more, but you get 10 devices, but it has a firewall and there's no free version. This one is, what is it? $12 more. You still get, well, it's actually more than the total AV, but it's $1.21 more than a month than the Norton one. And the difference is you get a free version, right? So if you're getting free, you're not paying for it. But it also has an App Store rating that's a little higher, 0.1 higher than this Norton one. But Cyber News, their rating was that it was a little lower than Norton. So again, you've got to read through these. They're going to tell you the key features. You can get a 7-day free trial, current deal. And again, current as of when they printed this article, which was November 19th. And remember, that's heading up into Black Friday. So are some of these things that they have here Black Friday sales? It might be, but you can go to their website. It's going to give you, you can do a smart scan in progress. It'll show it. Just a lot of different things here, pros and cons, right? So this is an interesting con here. Higher prices after the first year. So that might be a question that you ask. Well, this is how much it is for the first year, but what's the price for year 2 through 5? And find out ahead of time they should be able to give you a price for those future years, with the caveat that, there could be a price increase. Um, but and then maybe you say, well, I want to lock in that lower price. Can I get a 3-year package or whatever at that lower price? So it's always good to have that information. Um, and the Pro here, it has a QR code checker. That's great. We've talked a lot about how QR codes can be malicious, especially the ones that are sitting out in public where, they can put a fake QR code right over top of it. And unless you take your finger and try to peel it off, you wouldn't know that that was a sticker on top of the piece of paper. Um, so just go down through here and do your research. This one here, what was the next one? That was Norton. They have no unlimited free version, but this one here has an integrated VPN. So you get this antivirus, it's got a VPN, and that's a pro because then you don't need a separate VPN subscription. They monitor the dark web. You can get a trial version. So just go down through and like we've said with this, you can do your own research and then make a decision, or you can do your own research and maybe you've narrowed it down and then you've talked to your trusted tech support person to kind of help you make that final decision. Or maybe you talk to your trusted tech support person and they tell you, hey, these are the 2 or 3 that I think would be best for you, and these are the reasons. And then maybe you go in and do your own research. Again, it's up to you and your personal situation on how you want to handle that. Are you going to go and get something based off your trusted tech support person? You're going to do your own research, but there's a lot of information out there. These tech companies that have tech specialists that constantly review these products, and they will update their articles with the newest information on there. So that's a good way to look at everything. Let me get back up to, this one here has tools. You could go in and it has a ransom looker, a website security checker, a strong password generator, right? So let's get into that. This is just something that create a unique password, right? You can copy the password and then use it and copy it over into your password manager. You can generate a new password, but it kind of helps you figure out what a strong password. Let's see what else they have. Personal data leak checker, password leak checker. You can put, if you have a password that you're using, you can put it in there and they can go through and check and see if it's has shown up in any leaks. Website security checker. We've done shows on that. You could put the website in here and you can check it. It tells you how it works. So there's a lot of valuable information here. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. So that's a lot of information, I know, but I wanted to give you examples and showing you the 2 places that I went to. Now, you might have a different website that you like to do your research on, a tech website that you like to research things. Just go in and see what technology tools and software programs and stuff that they do research on, and look at the date of the most recent article when it was updated, because it might be a great company, but maybe that's just not what they do, is on a regular basis research all of these softwares. And so you're looking at an article that might be a year old, and maybe there's another just as good company that they do more of it, where they do the constant updates to these softwares. So just do your research. I think the biggest takeaway here is, don't just buy something because your friend is using it. Some security software. And please don't let someone tell you that, oh, you have an iPhone, you don't need any additional security. Yes, you do. We've known for a long time that iOS has very robust security measures and procedures when they are looking at an app to put an app in their app store, which is great. Android is catching up. Android has strong security too, but nothing is foolproof. Nothing is, everything is vulnerable. Anything that is connected to the internet um, is vulnerable, and you have to understand that before you start doing your research, and know that when you do find the software and the security apps that you want to use, that doesn't mean sit back and forget about all your scam prevention habits. You need to keep your scam prevention habits in place, your healthy skepticism, knowing it's okay to ask questions when you don't understand why they're asking for certain information. Keep your healthy habits about, clicking on links and responding to messages that you have no idea who this person is. It's okay to hang up if you realize you shouldn't have answered that phone call. It's okay to hang up. A lot of different scam prevention habits, verifying everything before you can even begin to trust. All right. Next week, I believe we're going to be talking about, we've gotten some new text messages in from people, and we're going to show you some different emails that have been coming through to give you an update on that. And so stay tuned next week for that information. One of the text messages is really clever on the link that the scammer was using. So you're going to want to tune in and find out what that link was. It's really clever. Anyways, maybe you have a text message or an email that you've gotten that is a scam. Send it to us. We want to see this. Screenshot it and send it. Or if you want to forward the email message, that's fine. You can forward it to info@roseadvocacy.org or screenshot it and send it to us. You can screenshot the text and email it over to us as well. It's info@roseadvocacy.org. So that's it for today. I hope you got a lot of valuable information, and please, please, please do your research and have that trusted tech support person to talk to about the best security apps for all of your devices, including your mobile phones, your cell phones. They are not immune to vulnerabilities. And don't forget, you're going to want to visit our website, roseadvocacy.org. Find all of our social media links. We are really trying to grow our YouTube page, so we would love it if you would subscribe to that YouTube page. We're trying to get up over 100 subscribers to unlock some more tools there. And then scroll down to the bottom of the page. We have our newsletters you can sign up for. As I said in the beginning, there's an email one. There is a mailed one. Email one, if you're already on it, you would have gotten our Tuesday tip about a half hour ago. Every Tuesday morning, a Tuesday tip comes out. Great conversation starter to talk to your loved ones, to keep scam prevention a regular conversation in a just conversational tone, not making someone defensive, not a negative tone. It's having the conversation. The more we talk about this, the more we can help people and ourselves with scam prevention and be a lot healthier, keep our nest egg when we retire, to be able to live out our retirement years the way we want to live out, to be a lot more educated and aware about what's going on. All right. Thanks for joining me, and see you next week.
Well, that's all the knowledge for this episode. Tune in every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific Time on K4HD Radio at k4hd.com as Joyce explores a variety of knowledge so you have the power to make scam protection your healthy habit. And until then, feel free to reach out to Joyce and let's talk about scams.